What up, and welcome to Something by Brian. I'm Brian, and because of Mr. Beast's and Mark Rober's TeamSeas fundraising campaign, I'm once more talking about ocean-related pop culture. This time around, it's James Wan's unapologetic comic book blockbuster from 2018, Aquaman. I've always enjoyed the characters from DC Comics, be it in animated series, iconic comic lines, or all-time classic feature films. I even quite enjoy the bad movies too, actually. With that said, I must admit I've never read a single Aquaman issue, so my knowledge of the character comes from the animated Justice League series from the early aughts and his appearance in the wonderful comic line Flashpoint. And of course we were all introduced to Jason Momoa's take on the character in the Justice League from 2017. Speaking of him, let's get to his first solo outing. We start out with a flashback explaining how Aquaman himself, Arthur Curry, came into this world, part human and part Atlantean. From here, the first act spends its time explaining why Arthur had to live in the surface world rather than with his Atlantean kin. Simultaneously, we see Atlantis and the ambitious Orm who seek to rule not only Atlantis, but all the underwater kingdoms and wage war with the surface world. Impending conflict is imminent. We see Aquaman protecting the seas, but not wanting anything to do with his kind, since he believes they killed his mom and shunned him. So when Mera turns up and tries to convince him that his half-brother Orm is up to no good, he turns away until he finally feels sufficiently personally attacked, and then he charges headfirst into underwater politics, with the exact results you'd expect. From here, Mera and Arthur start a journey to look for an ancient MacGuffin that could help prove to all that Arthur is the proper ruler. Meanwhile, Orm starts building his army and recruiting the other underwater kingdoms. The story culminates with a huge CGI underwater sci-fi kaiju-enhanced battle for the throne with impressive effects and just non-stop nonsense in the best way possible. The story is easy to follow and very Indiana Jonesy in its artifact hunting second act. It is an engaging story, but I could have done without a flashback or two. Other than that, I think the story feels very comic booky and larger than life, and the world James Wan introduces us to is very comprehensive, but he manages to introduce it through bite-sized segments that constantly entertains, until interrupted by an explosion. As mentioned, Jason Momoa is the titular Aquaman, also known as Arthur Curry. He's a charisma bomb. I'd argue that it is actually impossible to look away whenever he is on the screen. I don't feel this is the role in which an actor necessarily gets to show his entire range. It's not a slight on Momoa, he is great in this, but nothing crazy. That being said, I'd still say this is an improvement on his appearance in Justice League, but in that his charisma still really made him shine in some key moments. And damn it if he doesn't pull off that silly costume. I'm not gonna touch on the whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing. I haven't read up on any of it, I don't know anything about it, so I'm not gonna start spreading any rumors or anything I might have picked up on the wild internet. I'm just gonna talk about her performance as Mera. I like the character, and her powers are super cool. Maybe even underutilized actually, but we do get to see them both above and underwater. Her wig is absolutely ridiculous and looks amazing below sea level. She is perfectly capable in the role, and you believe her cause and that Arthur would be romantically interested in her. Patrick Wilson is the primary antagonistic force, and it is apparent he is enjoying every bit of this. I really enjoy his take on the Ocean Master, and I really enjoy that James Wan went all the way and ensured a comic-accurate costume. He looked so cool and dumb at the same time. He yells a lot in this film, but it gives his character a lot of gravitas and urgency, and somehow makes him feel a bit more regal. Like Russell Crowe in Gladiator, I suppose. There are a lot of side characters in Arthur's journey, and this movie packs a whole lot of star power, with smaller appearances from Dolph Lundgren, Willem Dafoe, and Nicole Kidman, amongst others. All three do good, and I have no idea how they convinced Dolph to get that hair. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II shows up as Black Manta. His costume design is spectacular and might be one of the best live-action adaptations ever, although I've seen some promo art from the upcoming Aquaman sequel and somehow they managed to enhance the look even further. He had part in an absolutely brutal action set piece that I've revisited multiple times since here on YouTube and thoroughly enjoy. I really look forward to seeing more to this character. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is great, and I've enjoyed him in pretty much everything I've seen him in so far. Speaking of the action, as mentioned, this movie is directed by James Wan, a horror aficionado and creator of the Saw movies, so we're speaking about a guy who isn't a stranger to intensity and suspense, and he just handles the action with the same grit a good scare deserves. And speaking of scares, this film actually contains plenty of horror-ish imagery too. But overall, the direction of this movie is great. Some really interesting shots here and there, and he really knows how to show an introduction. I mean, when Arthur exits the waterfall in his costume, that's just perfect trailer material right there. I've touched a bit on the costumes already, and they truly are the best adapted comic costumes of all time. I think the only thing coming close is Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man costume in the second Amazing Spider-Man film. Ocean Master, Black Manta, and Aquaman himself is ridiculously silly looking in the best kind of way. And Atlantis is beautifully rendered and really well designed. Overall, the CGI in this is immaculate. From the flowing hair to the water effects to the intense showdown in the climax. The only nitpick I have on the CG is when Arthur is first confronted by Orm and he explains his evil plan. The entire scene is just a little bit too shiny. You know, that unrealistic CGI shiny look where it just looks too clean. Also, the holograms explaining how shitty the humans have been to ocean life and the environment in general is never explained. Were they magic or tech? If tech, where were the projectors? Anyways, speaking of shitty human behavior, let me spend a little time talking about TeamSeas. We're in the home stretch now, and the campaign only runs until January. So if you'd still like to help the cause, please check the link below and donate whatever you can. As of recording this, $20,447,422 have been donated in the effort to clean up 30 million pounds of trash from the ocean, rivers and lakes. As mentioned earlier, it is an effort initiated and orchestrated by Mr. Beast and Mark Rober. The money collected will be donated to the Ocean Cleanup and Ocean Conservancy, who has promised if the goal of $30 million is reached before January 1st, they'll manage to clean up 1 pound of trash per dollar. That's a good deal right there. So click on the link below to learn more and help the cause by donating. Now back to less important topics. Aquatic-themed superhero shenanigans. Overall, this is an incredible spectacle. I remember watching this in the cinema and just grinning from ear to ear. It's probably not for everyone in its extreme comic bookiness. However, it is exactly this kind of exaggerated storytelling I want from a character like Aquaman. Trying to do a Dark Knight, Man of Steel, dark and gritty thing would have felt inauthentic and weird. So I'm glad they went the exact opposite direction with full-on silliness. I mean, come on. Apparently there's dinosaurs roaming the core of the Earth. The same Earth that Zack Snyder tried to make a grounded Superman on. I love it. When Aquaman and Mera exit the ocean to the sound of pitbulls take on Toto's Africa, I mean, if that doesn't make you smile and shake your head in accepting disapproval, I don't know what does. I've seen this movie a couple of times since its cinematic release, and I'm always entertained. It's not something I throw on when I'm in the mood to be challenged or anything like that, but if I'm drawing or hungover, this movie is perfect as background noise that you can't help but being sucked into. And if it doesn't command your full attention by the first time Orm and Aquaman goes toe-to-toe, then maybe this movie ain't for you, but it sure is for me. I can't wait for the sequel. James Wan and the cast and crew did an amazing job with this film. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching this. Next video will probably be a draw and talk about the best movies of 2021 that I've watched, and then it's a new year and I don't plan that far ahead. Let me know in the comments if you've got any ideas for movies I should check out in January. And when you're down there, please do click the link and donate if you can. Every little bit helps. Happy holidays and merry happy everybody. Until next time, take care.